and welcome to Inside Nigeria, your favorite newspaper headline review show. My name is Tion Joseph. Permit me to start this morning with Leadership newspaper. On the front page of Leadership this morning, the lead story says 2023 presidency. Fake news won't stop Tinubu. APC, Yaya Bello declares. Down there it says denies withdrawing support for Asiwaju, rivalry with Faleke. And the last bullet says PMB leads APC presidential campaign to Bauchi today. That is the report we have from Leadership newspaper. Now we head on to National Economy, which is a sister publication to Leadership newspaper. On the National Economy today, the lead story says conflict, rising inflation, others may worsen Nigeria's food security in 2023. Economists raise concern over 25 million Nigerians falling into hunger crisis. That is the report from National Economy. Now let's look at this day. The lead story on this day today says PSC IG posting commissioners without our clearance is unconstitutional. Fierce collision with governors, says authority to assign commissioners resides with commission. That is what we have from this day today. That takes us to the Punch, and the lead story on the Punch this morning says banks battle new naira shortage ahead deadline. Lagos FCT states ATMs dispense old notes as January 31st deadline nears. CBN begins currency swap for rural unbanked Nigerians. Stakeholders foresee extension. Customers want CBN to shift ground. That's the report we have from the Punch this morning. And now to conclude today's show, let's look at The Guardian. The lead story on The Guardian says new banknotes. Cash swap program takes off nationwide 1 week to deadline. Banks yet to heed CBN's directive, stock ATMs with old banknotes. Buni begs for extension, says only 4 out of 17 councils have banks in Yobe. Zulum decries non-dispensing of new naira notes in Borno. No cause for alarm over deadline, CBN says. And lastly, new notes surface in Anambra banks after threats by CBN. Thank you for joining the first part of the show. We crave your indulgence to do the same for the second part of the show. Once again, my name is Tion Joseph. I'll come back 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Until then, do have a great day.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning. Welcome to Monday 23rd edition, 23rd 2023 edition of Inside Nigeria, where we discuss front page news stories and review. My name is Winifred Bevo. It's my pleasure to be hosting you on today's program. With me in the studio, as you can see, is our public affairs analyst, Dayo Omogo.
Thank you, Winfred. Thanks.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for the opportunity.
It's a Monday morning. And as you can see, we have some papers for review this morning, talking about Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, its sister publication, National Economy is now a weekly. We have other papers as well, like The Punch, THISDAY, and The Guardian. We are taking Leadership first. Leadership says 2023 presidency, fake news won't stop Tinubu APC, Yahaya Bello declares. 2023 presidency, fake news won't stop Tinubu APC, Yahaya Bello declares. Denies withdrawing support for Asiwaju, rivalry with Faleke. PMB leads APC presidential campaign to Bochi today. That's the leading story on the Leadership. It's actually a follow-up story because yesterday the news was awash that Yahaya Bello, the governor of Kogi State, has stepped down, withdraw support for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Today, Leadership is cover story says 2023 presidency, fake news won't stop Tinubu APC, Yahaya Bello declares. Obviously in reaction to the story that was carried
that went viral yesterday.
Yes, that went viral. That's the word.
Yeah, but there's no smoke without fire.
Yes.
You never, and again, all kinds of things can play out at a time like this. It could even be planted by the Faleke camp.
Okay,
yes, because they have always been at loggerheads ever
Okay.
since the issue of the governorship of that state came up. When the sudden death of
yes, caused Fale the slot
exactly
of
deputy governor, and then everybody around them thought at least he would have stepped in automatically, but he didn't go through that way.
Because they were almost done. We just had
just a few, and then that happened. And one would have thought, well, this is my ball, this is my call, but it didn't happen. So people can get bitter over such things. And in any case, one of the explanations I also saw to that letter yesterday was that he needed that to be able to ensure that the central Kogi senatorial ticket is not lost by APC, because you have a very popular candidate is holding forth with a PDP ticket in that area, Barrister Natasha Akpoti.
Okay.
And so that it was like saying he wanted a trade-off. But I don't see how you want to trade off the big portion for a smaller.
Okay,
for a
maybe
smaller
for his
portion.
own sake. Of course, for his own sake.
No, because it's not the one going in.
Yes, because it still has at
it
least
still
1 year
has
to
exactly,
go.
so it can't go now. So, but I find that funny that you want to trade off the presidency with the senatorial ticket. I don't think it is true. So I still think maybe something has been
Also,
concocted from
Faleke is
the other camp.
representing Lagos State.
Exactly.
Even
Even from Kogi State. So, but I don't think that that would be very short-sighted on the part of Yahaya Bello to think that they will trade off the presidency for the senatorial thing. I think it's not. I think I'd rather tilt towards him saying it's not true. And in any case, those are not the things that are really going to affect the score of any candidate in this election right now. Because, like I said last week, a lot of people already have their candidates, and it will take a whole lot of work to dissuade them from who they believe in. You'll see that there are stories around someone also calling for Tinubu's prosecution and arrest and all that. We talked about it last week. It's been
APC and
PDP have been having this. So I think that it's to court. It's a good one. It's good. But the point again is that if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. I hinted at that last week when I said even Tinubu's hands are not totally, allegedly clean from what we have in the public domain. I mean, if you had someone who said his salary was $2,400, and then at a point he made a deposit of about $600,000, and at another point he made another deposit of 1 point something million dollars, you want to ask, so where did those monies come from?
Yes.
And then why did you have to do a plea bargain? Why did you have to go pay $460,000 and all that? So, but that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's not the real issue right now, because I do not see any of them being stopped by any court at this point in time. And so, of what use is it really? I think that Nigerians should concentrate on the issues and look at their antecedents and look at their pedigree and know who and who to choose. Yeah, I think so. So now, still on the
still on leadership. Just like what you're saying. Leadership actually has a story on it. It said, despite renewed peace commitment, political parties continue Musliming. So it's on paper.
Yeah, see, it's part of whatsoever it is that can take some shine off the other candidates. But they will do it, yes. Let it take some shine. Maybe you can have some wayfaring voters who are not neither here nor there, who can be won to their camp and all that. But beyond that, talking substantially, talking reasonable, substantial figures. There's something they call substantiality when you're doing audit. If you're talking substantially, you definitely know that most people already have their candidates.
Yes.
This is not going to do so much of any damage to anyone. Yeah.
Okay, just before we move on, we still have other stories on the leadership newspaper. Above the masthead, we have Edo records 10 new cases of Lassa fever, 8 deaths. Edo records 10 new cases of Lassa fever, 8 deaths. 2023, Kwankwaso will not step down for anyone. NNPP, the picture of Kwankwaso, the NNPP presidential candidate there. And beneath the masthead, we have largest container vessel berths at Lekki Port ahead of commissioning. Largest container vessel berths at Lekki Port ahead of commissioning. Then Serap drags Buhari to court over electricity tariff hike.
Yeah.
Passengers stranded as worry-bound train derails in Kogi.
Really unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. Police confirmed killing of 4 persons in Kogi State. These are the living stories we have on leadership's cover.
I think I must give kudos. I think we should give kudos to Sarah. They've been consistent in fighting a whole lot of societal ills at a time when a lot of other of their contemporaries have gone silent and almost out of the system. They have been very consistent in raising their voices, going to court to secure all kinds of injunctions to ensure that the right thing is done. And so this morning, I think that we should say kudos to Sarah. You're doing a good job. Please keep it up and help us, to tackle some of these ills. You can't just be increasing all kinds of rates, and there's no safety net for anybody. There's no pushing, nothing.
You just go and buy. They don't even bother to
even tell you anything about it.
You just go and buy units.
And then you find out that what you get is a lot less. It's unfortunate. Yeah.
And they just do this increase arbitrarily. That was me to understand that it's supposed to be twice at least a year.
At most, you mean?
At most, yes, at most. Not at least. And these people, they just sit down and do it arbitrarily. It's so sad and unfortunate. But before we move on from leadership newspaper, we have 8 days to go now. Countdown. It's 8 days to go for leadership's our conference and awards is actually taking place next week, Tuesday. Yes, 31st.
That's a beautiful one.
Yes, you are also our special guest. So, what do you expect in our awards?
Well, I expect the normal frills of any award ceremony, the normal glamour, the glitz, and everything. But again, that's an opportunity for us to also tell ourselves the truth. I look forward to a situation where some of the speakers they are going to be opening our eyes and the eyes of Nigerians.
We have Raila Odinga,
they're going to be, they probably will be relying on their experience in Kenya to say, look, Nigerians, you can do this. And so I look forward to a very, very beautiful ceremony and a whole lot of other things. Like I expect that people will get some, award ceremonies. We have somehow, in Nigeria, it looks as if it has become almost meaningless. But at the same time, I'm sure that there is still some value that goes with it. It's not everybody on the street that gets them all the same. Yeah, you would say some of the things for which they have been awarded, they are primary functions. What about the persons who didn't even do those?
Exactly.
So I think that it's a good one. Thumbs up to the management of Leadership Newspapers, and I hope that you have a fantastic, well-organized award ceremony. Congratulations in advance.
Thank you so much. And the theme for the awards and conference is credible elections and economy in transition. The keynote speaker is former Kenyan Prime Minister Honorable Raila Odinga. Yes, and the chairman of the occasion is the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Yemi Osinbajo.
Right.
Thank you so much. Yeah, from leadership, we move over to the Punch newspaper. The Punch says banks battle new naira shortage ahead deadline. Banks battle new naira shortage ahead deadline, and the deadline incidentally also coincides with the leadership's award and conference and award, which is Tuesday, 31st of January.
I think that there's more than meets the eye in this matter. Is it really a shortage or is it a hoarding? There's a difference between shortage, that something is not enough, and the fact that people are deliberately hoarding it and taking it, creating artificial scarcity. So I think that the CBN has to really get to the root of this and really punish whoever is involved in hoarding, in creating this artificial scarcity, because I cannot believe that the Apex Bank will do this kind of thing and not make ample provision for the new notes. So I think that there's something somewhere that needs to be unearthed. So we can.
The writer for the story says Lagos FCT States ATMs dispense old notes as January 31st deadline.
Imagine that.
Yes. You go and use ATM now.
And then you still get
even
old notes.
If you enter their banking
hall, you still get old notes. That's right. That's rather sad. That's rather. It's unexplainable. I mean, there's no explanation to it. And so I think that the Apex Bank should take serious note of it and deal very seriously with any bank that's concerned. They have threatened to do so, but let's see some action in that regard.
CBN begins currency swap for rural unbanked Nigerians. I think
that's a very good one. That's a very good, very thoughtful.
Read it about it and said, yes, it's good. And stakeholders foresee extension. Customers want CBN to shift ground.
As usual with Nigerian things, there might be an extension, but I think that if it was targeted, against the elections, then it's unlikely that there's going to be any extension. Because if you extend, then you would mean that you have played into the hands of the people who want. But okay, you can extend by like a week, for example. But beyond that, it would look like you have already fallen into the trap of the people who want it the other way around, and that would be unfortunate.
Yeah, we have also a leading story on Punch, and with pictures too. That also trended during the weekend. Passengers stranded in forest as Warri Itakpe train derails. We have a photograph, some snapshots of
at the time when kidnapping
newspaper, and of course you can see that the race truly derails because you can see the track of the railway in pieces.
I think we must do all that we can to prevent instances like this because it's too risky. I mean, you have not had this case and then they are being stopped and being attacked and all that. So if you now have situations where they just find themselves in the middle of the jungle and they are open to whatever, that's very risky. I hope that this doesn't happen. They can ensure that this doesn't happen. I mean, some of these tracks are very new.
Yes.
They came up on board within this administration's time. So how come they're breaking down so fast? We need to ask questions. Ministry of Transport should take care of that.
So that's where we are ending the first segment of the program on Inside Nigeria. When we come back, we'll be reviewing other papers we have on our menu. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
You're welcome back to the concluded segment of Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Weber, your host on the program. And with me in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Dayo Omogun.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have THISDAY newspaper on our menu for review. And it says, Police Service Commission, IG posting commissioners without our clearance is unconstitutional. Police Service Commission, IG posting commissioners without our clearance is unconstitutional. Fears collusion with governors, says authority to assign commissioners resides reside with commission. PSC, IG posting commissioners without our clearance is unconstitutional. Fears collusion with governors, says authority to assign commissioners resides with commission.
Yeah.
We're just hearing it now.
No, I think that is the correct position. If you have a commission that's responsible for appointment and postings and everything at that level, I think that commission really truly needs to be involved. Sometimes it might involve the IG recommending somebody, but it has to be ratified by the commission and then done properly. I do not understand, and I do not think it is right for a body that is supervised by a commission to take laws into its hands and just do things the way they want. It's like the NCC, for example, appointing an EVC for itself or posting certain cadre. At certain level, you cannot just post people around that way. There has to be a supervising body that looks at it and takes the necessary decision. So I think that it is just a straightforward thing. Commission and IG, please, you people settle your dispute so we can have security properly. But what is the fear of collusion? I don't understand that part of it.
And fears of collusion with government is also what has not dampened or stunted the clamor for state policing, because people felt that governors too will also take the law and start using state police as their own personal.
That's the truth. Sometimes the governors are worse than the people at the center in terms of power usage, of misuse, I mean. So for now, we might just not be right on that score for state police. Of course, state police would have been very, advisable. It would have been one of the best things to happen to us. But if you see the way that the state governors currently use power, if you see how every state always returns the people that the governor is interested in for the chairmanship of the local government areas, how the state CX, state electoral commissions, just dance to the tune of the governors, you would know that the governors themselves might even be worse than whoever is operating at the center, if given the opportunity. Yeah, so I think that
that's why many people, stakeholders
are concerned. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And I am one of those persons.
However,
rather that
with
we
the
retain what
states,
we have.
the increase in security issues.
Yeah.
So
No. See, look at in spite of the structure.
There's actually need to decentralize policing in
look at it. I think that it depends on the particular person at the helm of affairs in the states and the level of cooperation that he gets from the center. Look at the scenario of the train attack in Edo State. You'll see that with the promptness, with the quick intervention of the state
Yes,
government,
government.
and then I think with cooperation with the federal government, you would see that a
They
whole
want
lot
to
has been
run
achieved
them
quickly.
So exactly.
Quickly, so
Last
much,
time
so
I
much
heard
has been
that they
achieved.
will
That's quite commendable.
charge the suspects to court.
To court. I mean, to the point where
Wow.
even some royal, even though there are question marks
It's
about
really
that,
sad.
even some royal fathers
Yeah, there
have
shouldn't
been.
be, because if you notice all the security issues that have been, you see that this breach of security, you see that there are some
There are some support from the
big,
local.
exactly,
That's the truth.
big men in quotes involved in it.
Yes, except that again, like has been mentioned in certain quarters, that is also an opportunity sometimes for governors to hit back at royal fathers that they feel have not been
Okay,
there.
I get
And that's what has been what some people are talking about in this particular
Okay.
instance. But the truth remains that they were quite fast. There was swift action. A whole lot of arrests have been made. Many of the people have been rescued.
Yes, I
in
think
fact,
all of
almost
them.
all of them.
Yes, all of them.
That's commendable. That's the kind of thing we want. Like I say all the time, you may not be able to prevent some of those things.
Then you can
Because
take
the
action.
example I give all the time is when you say, "Oh, how can a whole America be hit by the Twin Towers be hit
Yes,
by
9/11.
what are these people called? What's the name of the
Those
Twin Towers
terrorists.
by terrorists?" The truth is, if you wake up, if you live in a compound, for example, and somebody has determined that I'm going to strike this guy, the surprise element, then you can't beat it. You were not expecting it, and so he knocks your door. The moment you show your face, he deals you a blow. You weren't thinking of it. He will get you. But what follows after is what is important.
I
And
think
I'm
that
so
was what
excited
one of
about
the
this.
presidential candidates, Peter Obi, said, how come that these kidnappers, they will use phone, the same phone,
The same phone that we use.
for the victims' family.
Exactly. And then they
ransom.
cannot be intercepted.
And they will even be the police. Only everybody will be hearing from this place. Only police that says that he's cut off. So no, it cannot continue.
No, see, it's very clear that at a certain level, people are not interested in stopping what's going on.
Yes.
I mean, look at it. In this same country, a cleric, will go to the bandits' hideout. He will get there.
Them.
An ordinary person in society.
Yes.
Then people who are uniformed people, who are fed with taxpayers' money, who have all the support, who have all the legal authority to do, say they cannot. I mean, how does it even sound? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
So clearly, there's some collusion going on. There's some support, tacit support somewhere. So until that is removed, until that tacit support is removed, we will not end this. I mean, look at how much success has been made in about a few months.
Just a few months.
Exactly. When a particular person who was running as middleman in between negotiating on behalf of these people that were what's his name? That was these people that were kidnapped, a publisher, the moment a Mamu, something like that, the moment he was arrested and a lot of information was gathered, you see the success that has been. I think that we can do that all the time in almost all the cases.
Actually, I wouldn't really call it success, because people are saying that behind the scenes there was swap.
Well, as far as we're concerned, as far as the families are concerned, whatever it is that you do to secure their persons, it's none of their business. Because ordinarily, government can even do that. There are governments who will do that and give you whatever you want and still get back at you later.
Yes.
But in the meantime, they have to secure the people safe and sound.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. If you have to spend whatever, you do it. But then you can get back.
And complicity. That is why we are
clearly.
And you know, when for these kidnapped victims' families, even the police that will tell you, it's better you just go and
pay. Yeah, because see, there's a point at which
they don't even guarantee you that we are going to
no. And if you delay, these people, some of them are not in their proper elements. They could shoot the person and then the person is lost forever. So why would you won't want to lose your beloved person? And so if the money is available, if the money can be sourced, of course anybody would want to do that and get his person back. Because it's better to know that this person is dead than to know that this person is somewhere in the jungle with people who are inhuman, who are heartless.
That in this phase of technology, police will use technology to track them down, but that is not the case.
That's what we are saying. There's something wrong somewhere.
Presidential candidate did say that in this era of technology,
how can you say that you don't?
They are relating with victims' families,
And you see, when you even tell me about a forest somewhere, we have seen those places. How forest are these places? This is not the mangrove swamp area. This is not. This is. I mean, these are places you can't even call forest by the standards that we know of forest down south.
There was a story that I wrote that police make success in bandit raid, and I was interested. I did read the story. Only that they saw, I think somewhere in the FCT inside the bushes, they surrounded. It was a late night. It was a sudden, impromptu attack to take them unaware. And guess what? That they surrounded the place. At the end of the day, with gunshots, that they were only able to kill one. I was like, what kind of story? So they just brought this story out, release it so that Nigerians would think that, it's not as if they are lying and they are not doing anything. They are working. I said, no, I can't forget this story.
I believe that our forces are capable, they are able to do what they are trained to do if allowed to do it. If they are allowed to express themselves, to show their skills, I believe that our security forces are far more capable than they are being allowed to express. I can
they are
almost...
allowed to, or they don't want to.
No, that they are allowed to. I mean, we have had cases of where there is clear, betrayal. There's some communication going to the enemy. And so the moment they are coming, they know how to disappear from there. They know when to attack. They know what. It's something is wrong somewhere.
It is something definitely wrong somewhere. Anyway, we are moving over to our sister publication, National Economy. Let's talk business. Conflict, rising inflation orders may worsen Nigeria's food insecurity in 2023. Conflict, rising inflation orders may worsen Nigeria's food insecurity in 2023. Economists raise concern over 25 million Nigerians falling into hunger crisis.
That's about another 10% of the Nigerian population.
Oh yes, falling into hunger crisis.
Of course, where you
but
have
we already have hunger crisis anyway.
No, but they are saying that another 25% may fall, may join the number that's there already. And that's unfortunate. You see, the thing about insecurity is that it has all kinds of angles to it. It has all kinds of other things that spring from it. Once there's insecurity, people can't go to their farms. People can't go to the markets. Some people are stopped on the way to the markets. They're prevented from going to their farms and all that. Of course, the normal, the rational consequence of that is that food production is affected.
Yes.
And once food production is affected, food insecurity sets in, and it's a serious challenge.
And you have inflation.
And you have inflation. You have all kinds of things. And then malnourishment. A whole lot of things. And then you have people who have also become unemployed by that. And yet we already have a serious challenge in terms of unemployment. Yes. And then you have children out of school. Now, when parents do not have a source of income with which to send children into school, then you can be sure that the toll of children out of school will also increase. Yes. So when I say, when this insecurity and it's not tackled and it's continuing for such a long period, the effect is wide. It's multidimensional. Yeah. And so that's the reason why whoever is in charge has to really take a more serious approach to curtailing insecurity.
Considering how large or how major insecurity has played a role in food, you have a food security. You discover that since even when during the government of administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, there was insecurity that time. We had Boko Haram really at its best. Yeah, but it didn't really affect food much. If you recall, it didn't really. But now, why are we having it so?
No, see, that's under Jonathan. Compared to now.
Compared to now.
No, the truth is that what we had under Jonathan was the fact that these terrorists were a lot concentrated in a particular side of the country, to the point where at certain points they said they held territories in certain portions of Borno State. Yes. Now, but the difference is that whilst that it has now been dispersed across the country. Everywhere there's some form of violence, there's some form of terrorism, there's some form of conflict all over the place, and which means that people are being affected on a more global level than it used to be.
And affecting their farm.
Their farm enterprise. unlike what it was before. It was in a particular place, and then you could say, okay, this side, and then you could say whatever products they are producing is what will run short of. But now you have a situation where people can't even go to farms in the southeast, in the north central. We have all kinds of issues. People have been killed on farms. North central, Benue, Plateau, and all that. And so it's all over the place. Exactly, it's all over the place.
Some farmers in Zamfara actually pay money
in order to be able to go to their farms. And sometimes when they harvest, they also have to give a portion of this of their income or their harvest too. So that's how bad it is.
Remember,
and that's the reason why you have the difference.
That time, that they went to
several, yes.
And the media said they ought to have taken permission before going. That they didn't allow
all kinds of things have been said under this regime that are not, they are unprintable. They shouldn't even be repeated. They hurt the sensibilities.
And this is us that actually there was so much money that went into the Anchor borrowers scheme for this rice production. Yet our rice is still so expensive. These are
some of the factors. These are some of the factors. These are some of the factors. And again, Nigerians generally have a bad attitude to loans, especially when those loans have anything to do with government. They think that the mentality is that is their own cake, is their own portion of the national cake. And that's very sad. And that's where I think that the CBN or whoever is involved must use the big stick. That there are times to use the big stick. You must whip people into line and say, look, our agreement is that it's a loan. Because the essence is that if you get it in return, then it can go around, it can be recycled several times, which will make production a lot bigger and which will increase employment for people and increase food supply to the generality of the people. So when you stop your own point, that's part of what makes life difficult. If everybody will give and take, if the cycle of giving and taking is not frustrated, if one person is not holding everything together, if one person is not too lazy to contribute to the flow, then it means that as you are receiving, somebody is also receiving, that you also are giving, and then the flow, the cycle will continue unhindered. But the moment somebody begins to want to frustrate the system, wants to game the system, that's why we have the problems that we have. You get a loan, and somebody has made the loan terms as simple as possible. I think that you should be thankful for that, and then use it and return what belongs to the creditor, and then so that much more can be achieved through the scheme. It's rubbing the government on the wrong side to do that. It's unfortunate. It's wrong. So when we complain about the government, we must also see our own wrongs, where we go wrong.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have looked at the papers we have on our menu for today. Thank you so much for your presence. I look forward to seeing more of you same time next week.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is what we call it today on today's Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, tomorrow, same time, same station, is another day. I'm moving for the people. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.